Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my very first kind of recipe video of my all-time favorite snack in the entire world. If you want to know what that is and how I make it, then let's go ahead and get started. As you can probably tell, I really enjoy this. So let's start off with what you will need and just kind of the materials. So first you're going to need a cutting board. Then I'm going to be using a really big knife. You don't have to use one this big, but this is the sharpest one that I have in my house. Please be careful when you're using sharp objects. It's so dangerous. You could mess up so easily, so just be careful. Next, I'm going to be using this peeler, and you can use either a potato peeler or anything like that because we are going to be peeling the skin off of the apple. So anything will work, but I'm just using this little kind of potato peeler, but it works just fine for the apples. Next, you're going to need a rather large spoon because we are going to be mixing all the ingredients later on. So a big spoon will really help it with the process of mixing everything. Next, you're just going to need some measuring spoons. I just have a great variety here, and I will show you what specific ones you will need as we are going on. And then, of course, along with measuring spoons, you're going to want measuring cups. Again, I will go over the sizes in a little bit. Along with other ingredients, you're going to need just some all-purpose flour that I just keep in this Tupperware. Any really soft flour, I just buy some from the store, just the all-purpose one. And you're also going to need some sugar, which I also just keep in a little Tupperware like this. I don't think it matters, just as long as it's just regular sugar, it should be fine. So you need those two ingredients, and you will also need just some regular ground cinnamon. I don't know, I guess you could use whatever you wanted, but for this I'm using just regular plain ground cinnamon, which is the one ingredient that adds most of the flavor, and this ingredient, which is ground nutmeg. I will go over more what they look like in the video, but these two ingredients right here are key to making the flavor just really pop. These things are my all-time favorite things to put in the apple guts recipe. And then you will just need some regular butter, margarine, whatever you want to use. And then obviously you are going to need apples. I personally like to use Granny Smith apples. You can use whatever apples that you want, but I'm just going to be using about 7 big Granny Smith apples. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the first step is to peel the apples, and what I mean by that is I'm going to be peeling the skin off of the apple. So the green part that you are seeing, we will not be keeping that on there. So I'm going to be taking this little peeler right here, and I'm just going to peel away at all of the apples, making sure I get all of the skin off. This is probably the most tedious, time-consuming thing about making this. Everything else is really easy, simple, downhill from there, but pretty much just gather all of the apples that you're going to be using. I like to eat a lot of apples, so I do make quite a few. I'm going to be making about 7 or peeling about 7 apples, so just kind of gather them all up and the process should go a lot quicker. Once you have done that with all of your apples, the second step is to carefully cut the apples into small slices. So with that really huge knife, but it works wonders because it's super sharp, I'm just going to be cutting, oh my gosh, I can't talk, I swear. Every time I do voiceovers, it happens like this, every time. But yeah, with the knife that I'm going to be using, I'm just cutting the apple off into like 4 sections like so, because we don't need to use the core for this. And after I do that, I'm just cutting it in really small sections. You can make them big if you want, you can make them really small. It's totally up to you what you prefer. I kind of like them to be relatively small because I am a small person, so it's just easier to eat that way. And then just put those slices into a big bowl, and you're just going to want to continue peeling and cutting all of your apples until you have finished the entire process. Like I said, it will be tedious and time consuming, and your hands will definitely hurt, especially if the apple is as big as your hand like mine was. literally after you finish all of the cutting and the peeling, this is what your apple should look like in the cute little bowl. It looks so delicious already. I love apples. It's like my all-time favorite fruit. Step number 3 is time to mix in the ingredients. So the very first thing you're going to want to mix in is you're going to want to grab your first measuring cup, which is going to be the half cup. So make sure you have a half cup, measuring cup, whatever. And our first ingredient is going to be the sugar. And who doesn't like sugar? I'm not going to say this snack is healthy because of all the sugar that you're using. I don't know. I don't really consider this a healthy snack, but I'm just going to be taking half a cup of sugar, and oh my, look how much that is. That's like insane to me. Every time I make these, I can't get over how much sugar I'm using. I don't know. And after you have an even half cup, just go ahead and dump that right into the bowl, and that leads on to our very next ingredient, which is the all-purpose flour. Just looks like this, and for this, you're going to be using your 1/4 cup measuring cup. So once you have an even good solid cup of that, again, go ahead and dump it right into the bowl. And again, going into our next one, which is the ground cinnamon. You can find ground cinnamon anywhere, but I'm going to be taking half a teaspoon, so just this little tiny amount, and I'm going to be going into the cinnamon and grabbing a good even spoonful of that as well. This isn't a lot, but I promise you it adds so much flavor, along with our next ingredient, which is this one right here, the ground nutmeg. Again, you can find this anywhere. You can find it where you find the ground cinnamon, and this stuff is very, very weird smelling, but in this certain recipe, it tastes delicious. Again, we're going to be using the same thing that we use for the ground cinnamon, just a half teaspoon for this as well, and go ahead and dump that into the bowl. And then our very last and final ingredient is butter. I'm just going to be using just some regular butter that I had in my fridge. Just gonna take a little bit of that, and we're gonna need, I think that said 2 tablespoons of butter. So 2 big teaspoons of that, or tablespoons of that, and dump it all in. And then now this is what the bowl looks like. It looks really gross, weird, and just odd. So next you're going to need to obviously mix everything together until it's all blended up. And again, this can be kind of tedious and kind of annoying because if your bowl isn't big enough like mine was, apples can be spilling out and falling out all over the place. So just kind of take your time with it, and you will know when it's all blended up once it starts to get kind of like a watery consistency. At least that's when I like to stop. And also you will notice that all of the butter and all of the ingredients are mixed in really well. But that's usually how I like to tell, is once it's kind of like watered up and you know everything's blended really good, that's how I know it is all finished. So just kind of continue mixing and blending until you're finished. And now you are completely all finished. So here is what it looks like up close. Oh my god, it looks so good. I love it so much. It tastes absolutely amazing. I have been eating this ever since I was a kid. My mom would make it, and we've always called it apple guts. This is actually the recipe that you make before you make the apple pie, but I don't like pie, so I like to eat it like this. So I just wanted to share this little snack with you guys because it is honestly so amazing. I love it so much. It's flavorful, there's fruit in it, and I hardly ever eat fruit. So the one time I eat fruit is when I make this little delicious snack. So I really, really hope you guys enjoyed this recipe, my very first kind of recipe food making thing. I don't cook that often or make things that often, so I wanted to share this one thing with you guys. If you guys did enjoy this, please give it a huge, huge thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And if you also try this yourself, please tag me on all your social media so I can see how yours turned out, and also let me know how you like it. But until then, I will see you guys very soon in my next video. I love you guys so, so much. Bye guys!